All right, so here's our propeller spinner, fresh out of the carpet. I want to trim that just a little bit. It's one of the disadvantages to having a kitty when you're trying to build the models. He thinks it's fun to knock stuff on the floor. So we're going to give ourselves a dab of glue again. And, okay. Now, let's get a cleaner toothpick for this operation. There we go. Now, I'm going to get that very edge in there. Remember, I loaded up. Now, come on in here, camera lady. There's a little tab right there on the side. You want to get this on the inside. So you want to look at your tabs and get that on the inside. Then make sure you don't have any on the outside, because as we know, this is going to go right in here, in between the propellers. So if you've got glue on this flat spot, you're going to glue it to the fuselage. And if you want your propeller to spin, that's a bad thing. If you don't care, don't worry about it. And there we go. Now, it doesn't hurt to take and move your propeller a little bit. While you're doing this, just very gently. Don't force it. Just very gently. There we go. Just move it just a little bit. See if you feel any glue grabbing. You'll feel it if you got glue grabbing. And that'll keep it from permanently stopping you up. Okay, we are in good shape. Our elevators back here are back to pretty much straight. Now we're ready to put on the canopy. Now when you put on the canopy, you don't want to use this glue. This glue will frost the clear plastic pieces. And that's these guys over here. Remember I told you to keep these ones in the little extra plastic so that they don't get lost, because if you lose them in the carpet, wow, I've only known a couple people to even be able to find them. We're going to take and open this up. And we're going to look at our instruction sheets. Normally we read from left to right, but in this particular case, what you want to do is you want to work from smallest to biggest. Okay, or you can work from back to front if you want, but you usually want to put on your small pieces first and then your larger pieces, because if you look at this over here on the model, these little tiny pieces right here are going to go in there, and that big piece right here, this piece is, when it comes down, it's going to go over the front of that right there. So you always want to kind of check it out, look it over, think about what you got going on. But once again, you don't want to go cutting extra pieces loose. But if you have to, if you're not sure and you have to, well, then you have to. We're going to set that one there. That little tab piece comes off of there. That's just a mold piece. And then we're going to come over here. And this is going to come off here. There we go. And we're going to pop this piece off of here. Okay, so if you're not sure, do your dry fit. See, this piece here is going to go down. It can only go one way. But now, if you're going to put this piece in, will this piece be in the way? Yeah, it will be easier to put this piece on first. So the glue that we want to use is white glue. This is just basic, everyday carpenter glue. Don't use school glue. School glue doesn't hold very well. This is just regular old white latex glue. We're going to put it on the same way. You want to be a little careful. Now, this stuff will dry clear on the plastic. You won't really ever see it. And you can put it on there like that. What I'm going to do, since we're going to paint this model, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one on this side to show what it's like painted, or not painted, and we're going to leave that one off. So see, there's one for both sides. Now you just want to make sure that that gets down in its little recess. There you go. And there, you can see where the little glue is. That's going to dry clear. That doesn't want to fit in there for some reason. Oh. There it goes. Sometimes you have to fiddle with them a little bit. That's okay. Now we're going to put more Elmer glue. Now Elmer glue, or white glue, or latex glue, doesn't hold great. Well, that's why we don't use it for the rest of the model. But it will hold these little parts like this right on here really nicely. We just want to make sure we get some everywhere because it needs all the help that it can get. And since these parts generally don't get bumped into much, oops. That sits right there like this. Now that's the canopy. This is a side scanning window. This is the canopy. The canopies on these airplanes, they had a hand crank and they cranked back. This is called the windscreen. This piece right over here. Get this one little tab off here. This is called the windscreen. It slides on just like that. Nice little test fit. Okay. Let's get this glued up here. Now, if you want to, this would also be the time to stop. Actually, before this, and paint this little section right here black. That could have been black if we'd wanted it to be. Does anybody want it to be? See, even if you've got glue on there, it's still not too late. So they say, oh, doggone it, I forgot to paint that part. There we go. There. I keep encouraging my camera lady to say little things from time to time. Now we're going to get some. There we go. And this is going to just drop right in place right there, just like it was. And there we go. There, we got our model built, and it's ready to be painted. Now, oh, wait a minute, we got one more piece to put on. That's why we check our instructions before we ever go too much further. We've got an antennae. Antenna goes right there. And if I remember back now that I'm looking, if we go back a couple episodes ago, we're going to find out that, let's see here. Where does it say put the P-dot tube on? You know, it doesn't really tell you to put the P-dot tube on. It does show you where to put that little tiny light on the wing, which is little tiny. And we're going to try and do that right now, but it never really shows you to put the pitot tube on. And the P-dot tube is this other little piece right here. Okay, we're going to pop it off too. Notice I got my finger on it. There we go. Set that to the side. So our antenna. Here we go. Take our tube. Now the antenna, of course, is for the radio. The P-dot tube that I'm trimming right now, this gives the pilot his instrument readings for airspeed and altitude. So we're going to take and find one of our little puddles of good glue here. Oh, we'll just make one. Oh, look at that. See how it's bent? Let's bend her back. And that's going to go in there. Just like that. I'll give her a look. You know, you want to make sure it's going mostly straight. And then it's not going up and down too much. Now we're going to put our antenna on. Do the same thing. We're going to dip our antenna in here. Bring it over here. And poke it right in that. See that hole? We're going to go right into that hole. There we go. Now for the people that know what they're looking at, that antenna is backwards. I'm going to turn it around.
Can't have that.
Well, it's okay if it's the wrong way. Of course, it's still not going to fly. But for people that want to do it the right way, then we will do it that way. Now here's that little dinky part I was showing you. See that little tiny rascal like that right there? Okay, now remember you have an antenna on top here. So we got to be careful flipping it over. So we'll give it something to rest on. It goes in this little hole right here. See that little tiny thing right there? It's going to go in that hole. In fact, you know what? We're going to take that antenna off for just a second. We're going to go to this hole with our see-through glue. Put our see-through glue in there. Now, I was helping another friend build one of these the other day, and he got tired of messing with this thing and just left it out. Now, here's how you deal with little dinky tiny parts like that when you got great big hands like mine. You break the sprue. There. Now, I've got something that I can hold on to. And if you look at it from this end, you can see where it's the smaller end. So, we're going to take and we're going to bend it just a little bit on the sprue. We're going to take and bend that up just a little bit. Don't want to break it off. Just want to bend it up. Okay. Put it right in there. And now, break it off. Except it's in my fingernail. There we go. Oh, goodness sakes. See, sometimes messing with these little dinky parts like this that no one sees really isn't worth it. Okay, we're going to leave that part out. What we'll do with that is we'll just put a piece of silver paint on it when we paint the outside of the airplane. Okay, all I was doing is I was just putting the antenna back in. Remember, we left this side scanning window out on purpose. We put that one in on purpose. So when we paint, you can see the difference. So when you paint yours, you can decide how you want it. Then we're going to check them one more time. And there we go. We have a completed P-40F made by the AMT Ertl Company, now also made by Italarai. They were for a little while, also made by Model Master. So you can get this in several different brands, this same model. Now I suggest you start out with the P-40FL or E, because you don't have to do any other cutting. If you do some of the other versions, you have to cut parts and pieces off, and wait until you get a little skill for that. Especially with some of your more higher price range models. Some really good ones like Hasegawa's, Tamiya. There are some other brands out there, Trumpeter, that are really fantastic models. Too many almost to name. So, start out with one of these. And if you've enjoyed doing what you're doing, then come on back and we'll do a basic paint. Now, when I was showing you the paint, we were showing that 3 of these, this one, and this one, all have the same basic paint scheme. So that's what we're going to paint. We're going to do that paint scheme, and we'll probably build these set of decals right here. And all these decals, these are right here too. They come with it. You can do all 4 of these models with this sheet right here. We're going to do the same paint scheme so you know how to do it for any of them, except this one you can paint the fuselage 2 different ways. You can paint it all green or camouflage. So we're going to do this one because they're all camouflage. It's just which set of decals, and we're going to do that one. All right, see you in part 6.